What's going on there, YouTube land, no social media lands? Welcome to an all-new video. In this video, we're doing a movie review of a new film that just came out a week ago and is a sequel many years in the making, so we're going to get right into that. Before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss this video and the other videos I put up. As always, people, if you enjoy my content here on YouTube, definitely check out my other social media platforms, such as X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, Patreon. Pretty much post on these regularly, so definitely check them out. As always, let's get right into this. So welcome one and all to an all-new video. Like I was saying before, we're doing a movie review of a new film that just came out a week ago, and is a great sequel many years in the making called 28 Years Later. Yeah! 28 years later, yeah. So it's been quite a while since we got a 28 days, weeks, or years later film. This one being the third film in the trilogy that is now out. And is, many years in the making. It's been since 2008 since the last one came out. So it's been quite a while. And I think a lot of people were wondering if they were ever going to make a third film. And, I mean, coming up on almost, 20 plus years since the first film came out, we have, it's been almost 28 years, almost at this point. So I think that, waiting so long was kind of a good idea. But all in all, compared to the previous two films, it's kind of interesting where they decided to go with this and kind of the writing direction that Alex Garland put into how he created the story. Especially with the second film not being written by him, this is pretty much kind of a full successor to the first film versus it being kind of a successor to the second film, even though it is in the same world and is, a part of that whole universe. Now, this film, of course, is one of those films that you're kind of like, is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? Is it going to have good stuff to it? How are they going to do with this film, being so long between films? And it was one of those things I was thinking about as I was going into the film, going, hey, it's been quite a while since the last one. The last one I thought was pretty decent. And, and the first one was really fantastic as well. And, going into this one, I was like, had, low expectations and high hopes for it. And it was one of those films that was like, it started off strong, but as I've seen and as I've contemplated since seeing it, it's definitely a film that went from good to kind of crapping out in the end. Now, this film is none other directed once again by the great imagination and great directing by a great filmmaker who directed the first film. And that, of course, is the director known as Mr. Danny Boyle. Oh, yeah, Danny Boyle. Woo, Danny Boyle, yeah, Danny Boyle. Danny Boyle is such a great director, from, of course, the first 28 days later to many other films he's directed over the years. He is just a fantastic director, and I love usually what he does with his films. I think he does a great job, and I think that when he came to making this, I don't know if he was going off the script or if he decided to do some different things or just go along with it, but I was really surprised at the approach he took to this film compared especially with how he did the first film. And I was like really shocked at, seeing kind of his style with this film. Overall I think that he did a decent job. He got a lot of great angles, he had a lot of great fun with it. He did the same thing as he did with the first film where he got, it was all filmed off of an iPhone 15 Pro Max and stuff like that, kind of like a handheld like the first film and everything. And I think that the idea was really great, but I think that off of the screenplay, it just did not play out as well as it could have been. Now, like I said, he did a great job of starting the film off, but then how it gets to its ending is really sad and kind of stupid and kind of goes in a different way than any of the previous films have gone. And I feel that it was kind of, very much as like most have said, and a few people and a few Screen Rant people have said, I've read on their articles and stuff like that it was stealthily woke at the end. And I agree with that, and I'm really shocked that Danny Boyle went that direction with this film. But also at the same time, I don't know how much of that was him, or if that was just how Alex Garland wrote it. Because we all know Alex Garland, he has gone very much in that direction over the last couple years. So I can't say it's all Danny Boyle's fault, but usually Danny Boyle makes really great films. And like I said, I think that he had a really great approach to the film, but overall I don't think he executed as well as he could have. And it's too bad because this film had a lot of great potential, but just as it went down the road, it kind of just got stupider and stupider. And I was really shocked by that because he had a lot of great, thought processes, especially with the camera angles and where the story was going, kind of the action thought process and everything. And it just kind of, died out about halfway through the film and just kind of became mush, basically, as I would like to put it. And I think that Danny, has a really great concept when he directs films. I think he does a really great job most of the time, but I really feel he was lacking in this one, and that it was a little too much. He was going in favor of what the screenplay went, and he didn't take any really approach to it, and that was a little sad. And I've actually been thinking about this film since I saw it in theaters last week, and really contemplated on how I would think about this film. And after reading a few things and thinking about it myself, I definitely think Danny Boyle kind of dropped the bar on this film compared to what he did with 28 Days Later. And I was really shocked. I was really surprised thinking about it after a while, because when I first came out of theater, I was like, oh, that was pretty damn good. That was a decent film. But then once I thought about it and recanted things and then read a few other things people have said, I'm like, wow, you're right. That is, they did drop the ball on that. And I have to say that, unfortunately, I just feel that Danny Boyle could have done so much better with the film. And I think that, like I said, he started off really good, but he really didn't hit the climax like how it should have been, like with the other films he's directed. And so it's too bad that, he didn't get that mark with this film. Now, if you haven't seen anything else Danny Boyle has directed, definitely a film to check out of his that I think he did a good job with. Is a great film that came out in the early 2000s as well, and is a film that it's got a lot of great recognitions. It's on the 1001 Movies to See Before You Die, and it got a lot of accolades when it came out. And that, of course, the film called Slumdog Millionaire. Yeah! Slumdog Millionaire. Yeah! That movie was quite interesting. It's a really well done film. I think Danny Boyle did a great job with it. He has this really interesting take on, basically Indian who wants to be a millionaire. And he really did a great job of giving us kind of a great aesthetic at the same time as reality of kind of what it would be like to be over in India and dealing with this kind of fame and stuff like that. And, Dev Patel was amazing in it, and it just was one of those great films that I thought really encased Danny Boyle's great directing. And I think that it really showed, too, that he had a really great eye for what he wanted to do with the film, and he really did execute it very well. And I think that film really shows the great quality that Danny Boyle does. If you haven't seen anything that Danny Boyle has directed, definitely check out Slumdog Millionaire. He did a decent job with it. But overall, I think that, 28 years later could have been so much better. Like I said, started off strong. I think he could have done so much more with it and given a better type of climax and not make it so stealth woke. And I think that overall it just could have been so much better. And just, I don't feel it gives up to his expectations of how great of a director he is. If you haven't seen anything Danny Boyle has directed, go check out 28 Years Later in theaters. See for yourself. What do you think? Did he do a good job? So this movie has a really great cast, lots of great people in it. We have the introduction of a great new actor named Alfie Williams in it. And he's got a great potential future. I think he's a pretty decent actor. I was really impressed with him in the film. And I thought that, I'm looking forward to seeing what else he delivers in, future films and also the future films in this, this film series. And I just thought that, he was kind of interesting as his character, but at the same time, as a kid character, sometimes they just make such stupid, idiotic mistakes because they're kids. And sometimes those, things kind of, don't go well in a film. They mess up the movie, or you feel like, oh, what an idiot type of deal. And he did very well at portraying that and giving us kind of that stupid kid take that I think really worked well for the film. And I thought that they did a decent job. But our great cast that really played the film out, is a great ensemble cast of actors and actresses that, I think really rock it, and they are, all do a really great job. And it kind of started us off as kind of the father of Alfie in the film, that's, in this film, that kind of leads the pack out, and that's the actor known as Mr. Aaron Taylor Johnson. Oh yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson. Woo, Aaron Taylor Johnson. Yeah. So Aaron Taylor Johnson, you might recognize, of course, from a slew of things over the years. You might recognize him from Nocturnal Animals. You might recognize him from the 2014 Godzilla. You might recognize him from Kick-Ass 1 and 2. And, I think that, Aaron Taylor Johnson is a really great actor. I have enjoyed him ever since the first time I saw him in something. I think he's fantastic and awesome. And I think that his character in this film was great, but at the same time, I think they wrote him horribly. And I think that it really gives dissatisfaction to his great acting ability by making him play such a freaking stupid character that, starts off strong, but that ends up becoming like this weak, pathetic piece of crap type of deal. And I was just like, why would you do that? Like, having such a strong character at the beginning, but then write him to become this like pathetic thing. And I think that was a disservice to Aaron Taylor Johnson, because he's such a great actor. And even though his character's arc and the character that he has to portray, he still does an absolute fantastic job portraying it. He's so good at it. He works it well. He does a great job of bringing it to life. And I think that, he played the character very well, even though it was horribly written. And I think that he could have done, nothing better to really improve the character, because the character just was written so badly. But overall, I really enjoyed what Aaron did with the character. I thought he did a really great job, and I think that he made the film very entertaining and enjoyable, especially right at the beginning of the film, where the film starts off really strong. But, as the movie goes on, his character kind of disappears. You don't see him much, and it's like, kind of like, wow, like, really, that little time for him? Like, that stinks. But overall, I liked what Aaron did with his character, and I enjoyed what time I did get to see him in the film. Now, if you haven't seen Aaron Taylor Johnson, I think definitely a great movie to check him out in. I think it's a very underrated film that was ripped by the critics, and I think it was absolutely fantastic and a great rendition of this great Marvel character. And that, of course, the film called Kraven. Yeah! Kraven, yeah! He was absolutely fantastic as Kraven the Hunter. He was phenomenal in that film. His action sequences were so amazing. They were action-packed. I loved what he brought to the character. And just overall, I thought he was just a really fantastic, person to portray that character that really delivered it very well. It was action-packed. He proved once again how great of an actor he was in it. I enjoyed everything he brought to the character, and he was just on point playing this character, and he looked the part too. And I just really enjoyed just what he brought to the character as well. And I think the film really showcases how talented he is. And he's a great action star. We saw that in the Kick-Asses. We see that in other films. And he just really rocks it in that film. And I think he gets a disservice for how great he was. And he doesn't get enough, credit for what he did with that role. And made it so fun and so awesome. And just made it really enjoyable. And I think it's a really well done performance by Aaron Taylor Johnson. If you haven't seen Aaron Taylor Johnson, I think definitely check him out on Kraven. He did a really fantastic job. But overall, I really enjoyed his character in the film. And I think that, like I said, I think if he was written better, he would have been able to do a way better job of giving that character even more depth, even more, personality, and just would have given him more stuff to do. If you haven't seen Aaron Taylor Johnson anything recently, go check him out. In 20 years later, he did an okay job. So that brings me to the next actress I like to talk about. And that, of course, is the female character that kind of is the big presence in the film, that plays the mother of Alfie and wife of Mr. Aaron Taylor Johnson's character. And that, of course, is the actress known as Miss Jodie Cormier. Oh yeah, Jodie Cormier. Woo, Jodie Cormier. Yeah. Jodie Cormier is fantastic. I really enjoy her. I think that majority of things I've seen her in, I've always thought she has done a great job. I think she's fantastic. I think she plays the character very well, and I think overall she just does a really good job of giving us, characters that you enjoy, you like, you care for, and I think that she's a very, great actress. And the character that she plays in this film, is kind of too bad. She's like a sickly character throughout the film and like out of it and stuff like that. But even though she plays a character like that, I thought she did a really great job of being somebody that would have brain cancer or somebody that has some sort of ailment of some sort. And I think that was really done well by her, and she did a really great job of portraying like somebody that would be in and out of hallucinations and stuff like that. And I think that she did a really good job. But it's too bad that they had to have that character be like that and be somebody that's sick and stuff like that. And we didn't really get to see her portray a character a lot more stronger and better. And at the same time, it's kind of interesting that, they kind of make her kind of like alpha almost in the film. And that's something that I've noticed over the last several years that they've really been very focused on. And I think that kind of cracks me up because it just like, why can't it be just a normal woman and portray a normal woman? And I just don't get this whole thought process of, why we need that to be a focus. And I feel that was kind of a focus in this film, especially after the first half of the film. And I was a little disappointed in that, and I was like, kind of like, nothing against Jodie Cormier, but at the same time, it's kind of like, she's playing this person that is ill, but yet she's still supposed to be like this alpha type of person, and I was kind of like, that's kind of a dumb mixture there. I just didn't care for it, and I thought it was kind of stupid. But overall, I think Jodie Cormier, like I said, did a really fantastic job, and I always enjoy her in films, and I enjoyed her in this. And I thought her and the relationship with Alfie Williams worked out really well. I thought their chemistry was very good. I thought it seemed very realistic, and I think that she did a good job of portraying a person, like I said, with this type of disability of some sort. And I did enjoy how she, becomes very lucid at one moment and kills that zombie. That was freaking action-packed and awesome, and I thought was really cool. And when she gets to the end of the film and she decides to just euthanize herself, spoilers ahead, people, I was thought that was so freaking stupid. I was like, what the hell is this? This is dumb as fuck. I'm like, why would you do this? And I'm thinking to myself, you have this character that you make out to be this strong person, supposedly, and they're so badass, and yet you just have them kill themselves. I was like, what kind of writing was that? And I know it's not the actors' usually fault, on how they're written, but at the same time, it's like, Jodie, show some spirit, girl. Get into the thing and do something, and so I was kind of I was like, what the hell am I watching here? And so I was kind of disappointed in that, and I thought that was, really poor writing. And, usually Alex Garland does a really great job. He's a really great writer. He did a fantastic job in the first film. Over the years, he's made really great films, and I was just really shocked at that writing was made for this film, and it just, I felt, gave poorness to Jodie Cormier's performance. And it really, took it to a whole new toll that I think that it could have totally changed the course of the film, could have made it more entertaining and fun. And I just think that really, put a shame on Jodie Cormier's character and didn't give her the proper due that she should have gotten for being such a great actress. So I just thought that was kind of dumb, and I think that, Jodie Cormier, once again, like I said, it's not her fault, but at the same time, it's like, you could have done something a little better with that, and made it very more interesting instead of just having yourself be killed off like you did. Give us a little better performance that would have made it seem like, oh, I'm going to fight, I'm going to, not kill myself type of deal, but you just, stand there and let yourself be shot to be euthanized. I'm like, that was pathetic. And I was just like, wow, that just killed this movie for me. And too bad, because Jodie Cormier just did such a fantastic job up to that point in the film. Now, if you haven't seen Jodie Comer or anything, definitely a film to check her out in. I think she's really fantastic and she's really fun. She's awesome in it, and I just really enjoy her. And that is a great film called Free Guy. Yeah, Free Guy. Yeah. Absolutely love this film. I think it's fantastic, well done, and she kicks butt in that film. I love her character. I love her interactions with Ryan Reynolds, and I just love her kick-ass personality in the film. And I love her personalities that, or how they're different in the, you know, virtual reality to reality. And I think that she does a great job of portraying this wonderful woman that's really awesome, that you fall in love with, you appreciate her, you like her, you want her to succeed, and you enjoy just kind of the camaraderie she brings in between her and the different characters throughout the film. And I just really enjoyed just how awesome she played the character, and I think it really shined and showed her really great personality and just really great acting ability that she has. And she does a great job, I feel, at comedy, along with drama, along with action a little bit. And she gave all those, I feel, in that film, and just really emphasized how talented she is and how, you know, she really can portray a character very well. And I think this movie really shows how great she was, or is. So, if you haven't seen Jodie Comer or anything, definitely check her out in Free Guy. She was absolutely fantastic. But overall, I was really disappointed in her performance, you know, latter half of this film, up to, you know, her beginning portion of this. But other than that, she was okay. She was, you know, pretty basic in the film. And overall, I think that she still did a fantastic job portraying somebody that is dealing with that type of ailment. If you haven't seen Jodie Comer or anything recently, go check her out in 28 Years Later. See for yourself. What do you think of her performance? So that brings me to the final actor I'd like to talk about that was in this film. And that is none other than the, if you want to call him, the crazy guy in the film. The guy that they think is crazy because he lives by himself and has giant statues of skulls that he has collected. And that, of course, is played by Mr. Ralph Fiennes! Oh yeah, Ralph Fiennes! Woo, Ralph Fiennes! Yeah! So Ralph Fiennes, of course, you might recognize from a slew of things over the years. English Patient, Red Dragon. Yeah, I mean, many things over the years. And it's just a really superb, you know, actor that can play all different types of genres. I mean, we have seen him as Lord Voldemort, which was kind of like a, you know, fantasy world type of deal. We've seen him in dramas, we've seen him in action films, seen him in horror films, we've seen him in all kinds of different things. And Rafe is just a really great overall actor that is always super fantastic in what he does. And I really enjoyed his character in this film. I thought even though it was a very small part, it still was very great. And he did a really good job, you know, portraying somebody that is pretty much isolated to himself in this kind of, you know, all by himself, has nobody to talk to, and kind of, you know, dealing with that kind of, you know, isolation. He did a really good job of portraying that, but at the same time not being too crazy at the same time. And I thought that Rafe did a really good job of portraying that, giving a really outstanding performance that worked really well within the confines of the movie. Now his character too is very kind of interesting too, because, you know, out of this whole area of the world, of this area of the British Isles, that's, you know, the quarantine zone, you know, I think it's interesting that he doesn't have more visitors other than the infected. And I think that, you know, with all the different skulls we saw that he has collected over the years, I think that there's been quite a few visitors there that he has come across. So I don't know if, like, exactly how much the truth we have found out yet until we see the next film, but I think there's a lot more to Rafe's character than we got to see in this film, and I think that Rafe did a great job of giving us just a little bit, enough to make us go, ooh, I want to know more about this character. And Rafe did a really good job of presenting that, giving us a really fantastic approach, and also you just kind of enjoy him, you like him, you find him a very pleasant person, and you want to root for him. And I like how he's soft-spoken and all that kind of stuff too. And I think he does a really good job at that. And he was probably one of my favorite parts of the film, and I really enjoyed how great he played the character. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of that character in the next film. Now, if you haven't seen Ray Finds Anything, definitely a great movie to check him out in, and I think he's really good in. He plays a really interesting character, and he's really sadistic. And it's a great film that came out a couple years ago that is just off the wall interesting. And that, of course, the film called The Menu. Yeah! The Menu. Yeah! This is an interesting film. It's one of those films that I felt was... It's not as great as they make it out to be, but at the same time, it's very intriguing. And I think Ray plays the character so well and is just really on point with the film that he makes it so much more enjoyable, and you want to go back and watch it. You want to watch it because of his performance, along with Anya Taylor-Joy in it too as well. And his character in the film is just so freaking insane and crazy. You just absolutely can't turn your head away. You just want to keep watching him because he's so freaking good. And he just really played the character to the T and gave us this really outstanding performance that I think is a really great highlight of his acting career. And I think it's one of his better performances in recent years compared to like when he did like the English Patient and when he did, Red Dragon and so forth, played Voldemort. He really played that character really well, and he was really fantastic. If you haven't seen Ray Finds Anything, definitely check him out in The Menu. He did a really fantastic job. But overall, I really enjoyed his character in 28 Years Later. I think he was a great addition to that cast, and I really enjoyed his character. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that character. If you haven't seen Ray Finds Anything recently, go check him out 28 Years Later. See what you think. Do you enjoy him? So what is 28 Years Later about? Basically, the premise of the story, it's supposed to have been almost 30 years since the initial outbreak that happened back in the first film. And the certain areas of the British Isle that are still quarantined after the events of 28 weeks later are still in quarantine because all the infected are still in that area. And basically, we're shown the story of these characters that basically ends up with the child wanting to take his mother, who is sick, to this supposed doctor to cure her. And basically it's about his story, kind of how he gets her to this doctor and kind of the outcome and kind of where that leads him to by the end of the film. And that's pretty much what this film is about life in that quarantine zone. And like I said, it had a lot of great moments at the beginning. It had really great potential to start off, but it just really got killed by the ending. There's so much male nudity in this film, cracks me up. I don't know why they thought they needed to show this infected guy's dong for 30 minutes straight. Pretty much is how long it felt. And I thought that was so unnecessary for this film. Because like the other ones, we briefly saw stuff like that, but it wasn't excessive like this one was. And I don't get why they decided to do that throughout this film. But other than that, the film itself has some great potential, had some fun. It was definitely worth seeing. It has some great performances that I thought were very intriguing and very fun. But overall, the message of this stealth wokeness just really killed the film for me and didn't make me really enjoy the film as much as I thought I was going to enjoy it. I give this one 5 Golden Movie Boxes up because of the actors and actresses that were in it that I really enjoyed. But overall, the story of the film just really got killed halfway through the film and through the ending, and just could have been so much better. If you haven't seen 28 Years Later, go check it out in theaters now. See for yourself what you think. And also, it is still a decent addition to this trilogy, and interesting to see just where it goes from here when we get the next film in January. But other than that, go see it in theaters. See for yourself. What do you think of the film? So that's it for this movie review, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Also, thank you for subscribing. And if this is your first time here, or you have been before, don't forget to check out any older new videos you might not seen mine yet. As always, huge shout out to my subscribers, new and old. Thank you so much for being a part of the channel. But if you really want to show support, please go check out my Patreon page, where you get all kinds of extra content you don't get here on my YouTube channel, especially once you become a subscriber. Plus also, helps the channel out so that I can make better content and better stuff for you guys. Contests, all that kind of cool stuff coming up. And also, you get all kinds of cool stuff like outtakes, bloopers. You get to ask me to do a movie review for you of either a movie or a TV show, whatever you like. Yes, that's right, people. you get to pick something for me to review. So definitely check that out. As always, catch you in the next one.